Friends, neighbors, and of course, the YouTube comment section. Hello, welcome back. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I've got a very interesting panel to build today that I know the YouTube comment section is going to lose its mind over. So, not being one to ever miss the opportunity to A, mess with the comment section, and B, monetize off the comment section's commenting, I give to you the LM Torsten Systems DS1 panel. Are you guys ready, comment section? Here you go. This is 15 outlets that can only be fed by, wait for it, 15 amps. I know. It's crazy. When you thought I couldn't take any more of your money for an overglorified power strip, I have unfurled this upon the world. So I know what you're asking yourself, Billy, why do I need a 12U 15 outlet power panel that can only handle 15 amps? Well, this is part of a larger system that we're building that is specifically designed for sports applications where you're using things on a sideline of a football field and you need essentially a glorified power strip, and this is what I came up with. The system is designed to run off of a heavy-duty cable reel or a generator. And because of the limitations of sideline power, be it I only have a duplex, I can't get twist lock power or anything down there, or I have to run it off of an equally sized generator, and it has to fit into a little 30 by 30 trunk, which I'm probably going to make a video and show you guys how I'm going to do it because I think it's pretty cool. So anyway, this is the panel. So primarily, this is supposed to be a generic kind of thing for us. The case is sized in a way that I can build a 12U panel for this, and then, obviously not being one to not brand something, we just called it the DS1, so D distro S sideline, and this is the first distro in the series of things that are designed specifically for football sidelines, and of course LM Tor systems. There you go. So to make sure that you can't plug stupid stuff in, say for example I want to plug 15 heaters and then worry why your breaker pops, I've separated this into 3 groups. At first glance you may look at this and think that it's phases, but it's not. It's groups. This is all sharing the same input, but each group has a 15 amp breaker over top of it. So if any one thing draws too much, it'll pop this breaker locally before it, say, pops something in the main panel. And to keep an eye on what you're drawing, we have these little meters in here that measure volts and amps. So, if you're drawing, say, 15 amps on group C, you can't plug anything else into A or B. But anyway, thought it was interesting. So in an effort to make things generic, because, I oftentimes get myself into trouble with making things too custom that I can only make one and never sell it again, I decided to use a Decora punch for this particular panel because it will allow me to configure them per order for customer orders. And I started populating this with the voltage meters and the breakers, and I thought, we should build this on YouTube because why not? So you can get this however you want. Again, I'm probably going to make an LM version of this that's, only slightly better shot on a slightly less messy desk. But the idea basically is you can load these with whatever you want. So if you want like a regular 20 amp duplex outlet, you can. If you want to get some USB charging thing, you can do that in there. And these are true 1 punches on the bottom so that if you want to have true 1 to 4plex, the cable that I love so much, you can. That's their intended idea. Or a really cool pendant power supplies. Check the upper right-hand corner of your screen for that. As I like to call it, the world's most expensive phone charger. Those are really cool. Despite them being very expensive to make, they are very cool. So basically the way that this panel is going to work is it is a dual input. So you have 2 separate power sources for this. So not A and B, it's A or B. So in an effort to do this, we have this little transfer switch at the top, and I came up with this nomenclature. So there's little LEDs up here that run on 120 volts AC, and when it's getting power, one of them will illuminate. So if you want to click it over to generator power, you can, or if you want to click it over to the wired cable reel that we've got in there, you can. And it says voltage present when indicator light is illuminated. Outlets are off when the switch is in the center position, just like that. Total system draw cannot exceed 20 amps between the 3 groups. So again, it's supposed to be dumb. But anyway, this is a 12U chassis. And on the back, it will be populated with true ones. So there'll be a true one for the generator, a true one for the land power, and then, of course, branded down here. This, again, I know that looks a little bit weird right now. And I promise that the subsequent video to come after this will make it make more sense. But for the time being, I'm going to get this thing populated. Come along with us on our jazz journey. All right, so we are all finished. And here is what the world's most overkill 15 amp power strip looks like in the context of the case and or system that it will be in. So before we talk about the panel, let's talk about the power input sources for this particular thing. Ben's working on Saturday. Hi, Ben. So the exterior case is 32 inches wide by 30 inches deep. That's as small as we could possibly make it to allow it to be truck pack. So the lids are flat panel lids. If we did it with as a traditional pocket door where they slid into the sides, you'd have to make the case wider. and we just thought it would be more efficient to make it taller rather than wider. So these lids go into the top. They have dividers that separate them, so you can pull the lids out independently. They're not resting on each other. So the power input sources are done by one of two ways. So this is actually a custom reel built by Hene. So this is what's called a live reel. It has it has a slip ring on the inside, so your ground, your hot, and your neutral are always active even when the cable is plugged in. So for those of you who are familiar with cheaper reels, sometimes you have to extend the reel, get it to the length that you want, and then plug both ends in. This one you can use live, which I think is an important aspect of this particular system. So this reel is mounted on a slide-out shelf. This is built out of marine-grade plastic. It's mounted on heavy-duty glides. And you can just grab the end of this and pull away. There is 125 feet of SO cable mounted on this particular reel. So when you look at it, the cable that's on there is occupying, let's say, a half, maybe a third. So, you know, we buy SO cable in 250-foot reels. So, you know, you could easily put the whole reel on here if you wanted, if you had an outlet that was really far away. But I thought 125 feet would be sufficient. And, you know, just in case you're wondering where I got that number from, it's half of the 250-foot reel that we get. So that is the power side, or the land side. This is the generator. So this is the biggest generator, both in capacity and size, that we could get to fit in a reasonably truck pack format. So basically the way that this works is there's an Edison power cable on the other side of this that plugs into the True One input of the panel. So again, just like the reel, this is built out of marine grade plastic, mounted on heavy duty Accuride glides. And you'll notice that the exhaust blows away from the case, so you can have this running and keep it relatively not bad smelling, though it is 2-cycle and I'm sure it smells terrible. We've been speccing this generator for the past 4 years, and I've never actually turned one on. So how loud is it? How stinky is it? I honestly don't know. So the idea with this being on the slide out shelf is that you can get it out of the case, so you're not building smoke and exhaust up on the inside. So let's power the panel on here, and I'll show you how it works. So because this is new, I don't want to make this thing go, I don't want to drag the cable on the floor and get it all scruffed. So I have an LM Tour Systems 4-plex extension cord that is powering this, which we will keep this in the back of your mind, the 4-plex extension cord, while we talk about the front. So, as I mentioned earlier, this is a 12U panel with 15 Decora punches in it and 3 Neutrik True One outlets. So before we turn this on, you can see that the wired side is the refresh rate of the camera is not necessarily showing it, but it is a green LED light that is illuminated. That lets you know that you have power. So if you're in a troubleshooting situation and you're saying, oh man, this thing won't turn on, you'll know, hey, I have power. So if you want to activate the panel, all you have to do is click the switch to the right, and it will activate your 3 quote-unquote legs of power. They are not legs, but the idea with separating them into groups of 3 is that because you only have 15 amps to play with, this allows you to separate things out, and you can break via a breaker at a master side so if you blow one breaker, you don't blow the whole panel. I know this is a little bit weird, and I can feel you guys angrily typing as I'm narrating this. This is a very specific panel designed for athletics. You have to understand that if you're watching this from the background of an entertainment, if you're an entertainment person watching this, they don't have twist lock power available to them. This is specifically for locker rooms and sidelines. So they only have regular 15 amp outlets available to them. The problem is when you go into a locker room, they're old and they're not designed to have 50 people go in there and want to charge their phones all at once or plug their stuff in. So the things that they're plugging in don't draw a whole lot, but they need to plug a lot of things in, which is exactly what this accomplishes. So the idea of showing a direct amperage draw on this, so if you plug something in and say, you know, we plugged our heat gun in here when we finished it up, our heat gun draws 11 amps. You know, if you plug one heat gun in and that says 11, if it goes over 15 and it plops this breaker, you know that you have drawn too much, which will probably happen sooner than later. The other thing is it does show you the line voltage available. So, you know, if you're plugging this thing in and you've only got 116 or 117 volts on there, you know, you probably aren't going to be able to pull much from the main breaker, so that'll give you a clue too. So all of that is in this instructions manual. So, you know, one of the things that we do with the integrated side of LM is we're oftentimes putting knowledgeable systems into the hands of people who are not necessarily trained. So, you know, you or I being veteran stagehands would know, oh man, there's 121 volts on this, great, there's probably isn't anything plugged in. But if you plug into it and it's, you know, 117 volts, it's like you're probably not going to get the full 15 amps. So, you know, things that we're trying to train non-technical customers, which is kind of the idea of this whole thing. So it's quickly deployable, lots of outlets, and it's designed for sports. Now, the way that this thing is wired, we can modify it really easy. So, you know, we did it with 12 gauge wire on the inside. We could easily do that to 10, and you can have a 30 amp panel, which that starts to get a lot more usable. We just have to swap some things out. But again, I wanted to make this sort of generic so that you could customize it however you want. So this is going to a trade show. If any of you guys are going to be in Charlotte and want to hang out and say hello around the 11th through the 15th of January, I will be there. But this is just showing what outlets you can get. So the top is the same. These are duplexes with USB-Cs. The next one down is my favorite, the USB-A and C. The third row down is USB-As, which are becoming less and less popular. There's a fourplex of USB-A, and these are 20 amp heavy-duty Leviton. The bottom here has True 1 outlets. And the idea with the True 1 outlets are, if this is a sideline situation and you're running it off of the generator, you can put it far away and you can use a True 1 to get you the distance to get back to where all of your stuff is. So you can keep the generator away from people, and then you don't have to just deal with resting on a Edison connection to make a long connection. The other thing is, like I mentioned previously, we do have the LM 4-plex to True 1 cables. And the other thing that I really like a lot are the pendants. We have the Leviton pendants, which I built one of these on, or one of those on my channel and called it the world's most expensive cell phone charger. So if you want to check that video out, check the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Or if you want to see product links on that, because you know me, I have to sell you something all the time, you can check the links below. But anyway, I think it's unique. I'm sure that the electricians in the audience are going to hate this and tell me all the things that I did wrong. And I'm sure you're looking at this thing and wondering why a power strip needs to be $5,000. Although I actually have no idea how much this thing costs. This is a new product. So once I quote it, we'll see. But it's not going to be cheap. So should we dare call this thing the world's most expensive power strip? I think we should. But anyway, I'm sure you guys will all tell me in the comment section. So Happy New Year. Hope you guys are all avoiding the cold that seems to be sweeping the country that Ben and I both have. But catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by.